Do do do, theme song. Do do do, I'm broke so this is my theme song. Do do do, just imagine this is an awesome theme song. Do do, theme song. Hello, welcome to Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. I'll admit it, generally speaking, I'm slow at getting to videos, which means if I'm responding to a viral story, people have often moved on by the time my video about it gets out, which sucks for the algorithms. This is something I know I need to work on. With my ADHD, OCD, autism, and mental health issues, it's actually quite impressive I get as much done as I do. That said, this time I was ahead of the viral story. In my video, The Truth About Medical Assistance in Dying, I included the story of Amir, a man applying for MAiD because he was about to become homeless, and with his disabilities, he knew he wouldn't be able to survive. A couple of weeks after my video, his story got picked up by bigger social media people, and it went viral. My timing is impeccable. Because his story got so much attention, a Gofundme was started for him, which reached $60,000. People shouldn't have to rely on GoFundMes to survive in this country. And as fantastic as $60,000 is, it's not a permanent solution. With rent and the cost of living, I was worried the money wouldn't solve his situation, only delay it. While looking to make a follow-up video on Amir, I found him on Twitter. And I thought, well, I could talk about him or I could try talking to him. So I reached out and we set up a chat. Big content warning. We talk about suicide candidly, casually, and in a way that can be unsettling to people who can't relate to our situations. I'm aware of the stories in the news about MAiD being suggested to veterans with disabilities, and there's a lot of talk of MAiD being eugenics. No one should ever feel coaxed into MAiD. People should not be presented with the choice of slowly dying in poverty or quickly with medical assistance. Having a disability doesn't make a person a burden to society or disposable. I'm working on a video specifically about this because, yeah, I have thoughts. This is Amir's story based on his experiences, and it carries a noteworthy message. Other people's experiences around MAiD will be different. With that said, on to the chat. Hi, Left of the Box. This is not my studio, as you can see.
Yeah, it's my living room, or
yes.
What used to be my shared living room.
All right, I'm going to be adding this into the preamble so I don't need to repeat myself right now. Anyway, I am here with Amir.
Hello.
To talk about medical assistance in dying and his recent story that kind of went a bit viral. Just if you want to say hi to the audience.
Hello.
Neither of us know what we're doing.
That will become very apparent very quickly.
Let's go over a bit of what life is like for you with your disabilities.
Pain management is number one. I'm in a lot of pain 24/7, so most of my life is just making sure that I have enough medication and do enough exercises and have whatever I need to do to have my pain not be unbearable, just excruciating. That's sort of the best I can hope for. And I got good days and bad days, and on good days I try to do my chores and all the stuff that you need to do whether you're disabled or not. And on my bad days I stay in bed and that's it. Yeah. Don't get out. It takes me like a good 10 minutes to crawl to the bathroom and back, and that's about the extent of my activity on bad days.
And how long have you been managing your disability?
My back problem started ages and ages and ages ago. I fell off a horse in the 1970s, so a long time ago. It kind of healed a little bit, and then I got tackled in a game of touch football by this was when we had first emigrated to Canada. I guess some guy wanted to show the kid that was fresh off the boat what was what. Oh. And then a few months later, I was introduced to freezing rain. Originally, I'm from Iran. We don't get freezing rain in the desert.
You
much.
Don't?
No, go figure. Oh. So I took a step out on a bright February or March morning and bounced on my butt down a set of stone or concrete stairs. And at that point, my back just said, I give up. If you're going to keep breaking me, I'm not going to heal properly this time. So it's healed kind of crookedly on two axes. One of the vertebrae is the one that broke. And it's caused a lot of calcification around the area and on the inside, which has led to what they call spinal stenosis, which is the narrowing of the canals around your nerves, both inside the spine and where the holes are, where the nerves go out to go down your legs. So right now I'm pretty much at the point where bone is touching nerve. So think of getting, your teeth drilled without the anesthetic.
No, I don't want to think of that.
Okay, but that is what my back feels like 24/7.
Yeah.
Because it's literally something touching a nerve.
Yeah. Ow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I figured that would be about as easily understood a reference as I can make.
No, it is. I don't even need to think about it to know how bad that is.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But people are resilient. I've kind of gotten used to it. It's I've had it for so long, and it's also grown pretty incrementally. And I get lots of really good drugs. So I live with it. So that's the main part of my disability. The other part is my breathing issues. I've got pretty bad asthma and the beginnings of COPD. That part's on me because I used to smoke like a chimney for like 20 years. But I need 3 different inhalers just to be able to breathe during the day. And it's only going to get worse, not better. The COPD, there's no cure for COPD. There's going to be different inhalers, whatever, manage symptoms until it gets to the point where you can no longer breathe. And that's that. And then psychologically, I've been diagnosed with PTSD and panic anxiety disorder and pretty bad depression. So there's also a whole bunch of pills for each of those things. So I have a pill salad that I take daily. I'm on about anywhere from 18 to 22 pills a day.
Wow.
Most of them are pain pills. Some of them are anti-nausea pills because the pain pills make me nauseous. But yeah, so my life is mostly all about managing the pain and then managing the symptoms of the pills that I take to manage the pain.
Even with all of that going on in your life, though, life is worth living. You still want to enjoy it to the best you can.
Yes.
So what led to the application towards MAiD then?
Well, first of all, MAiD had been on my radar since it got introduced back in 2016 because with all of my ailments, unless I got some kind of fatal illness or an accident or something, eventually it was something that I'd probably have to use because I wouldn't be able to breathe anymore or the pain would just become too much and no drugs could combat it. So as something that sort of abstractly I was thinking of a decade in the future, 2 decades in the future, whatever, it was on my radar. But then my landlord told me in late June, early July, that this place was going up for sale. And when I looked at the listing, it was listed as vacant possession, which kind of put the writing on the wall as to whether or not I'd have a place. So I started looking for another place. Rental prices had gone sky high. At the time, ODSP hadn't gone up a nickel in over 5 years. It was still at $1,169 a month. And the cheapest things that I could find were in the mid 800s, and it would be, either a dank mold-infested basement or a room up in the attic where, in addition to it being small, I'd have to bend over to actually be able to fit in it because it had the roof thing. And I looked for another month, and by the middle of August, it had become obvious that there was nowhere that I could live. And at one point in my 20s, I had been homeless briefly. My bad. I used to have addiction problems, which meant that I lost everything that I had back then. But I knew what homelessness was like. And I knew that in my present condition, both physical and psychological, I wouldn't last long anyway. So I decided to apply for MAiD. He tried to talk me out of it. His assistant tried to talk me out of it. The social worker tried to help me out of it. Or not help me out of it, but talk me out of it, rather.
And you brought it up to them?
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody suggested it to me at all, ever. It was something that, I went to, actually, when I told him, this is what I want, he was stunned into speechlessness. For a good 2 or 3 minutes, he was just kind of staring at me like, huh?
Yeah, normally it's the doctor telling the patient you only have so long to live, and not the patient telling the doctor I only have so long to live.
It really threw.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a really, really good guy. He used to do house calls. He's gone above and beyond for me. But he still didn't really want to do it. And eventually, I think I basically told him, listen, if and when my options become homelessness or death, it's going to be death. Whether it's through MAiD or whether it's through me doing it myself, it's going to be death.
And this is something I know I can resonate with, because I lived in the shelter system in Toronto for about a year when I was in my early 20s. And the prospect of facing homelessness again, if I lose my apartment, the options aren't great. And it's only a matter of time. Like, if I have to move out of town somewhere far away to find an affordable tiny room to live in, so I'm away from all my networks, my contacts, my mental health is just going
it's going to explode.
Yeah. And so then it would just be a matter of time before my suicidal ideation became more than just an ideation. And I don't think a lot of people understand. It's like we're looking at the options. We know ahead of time the conditions are going to lead to that. So it's a matter of, it's the same way if you get diagnosed with cancer and you have 4 months to live and the last 3 months are going to be in excruciating pain,
then you might as well not. It's the life should be more than just counting the number of days. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't understand. I also think that it's probably unfair of us to expect them to understand because they don't have any kind of common frame of reference. Somebody who doesn't deal with pain, whether it's physical, psychological, both, whatever, as their overriding primary thing in their life, asking them to understand what it's like to live like that. I didn't tell anybody. That's wrong. I told one person. I told my best friend / bridge partner that this is what I was going to do. He also tried to talk me out of it.
You didn't tell anyone other than your friends. So how did the news pick up on this? Right.
And this is just like one of those stories where I'm still shaking my head at it. There is an MPP in Toronto, a fellow by the name of Chris Glover. He's an NDP guy. And he was circulating a petition online to increase ODSP rates. So it came up on my Facebook feed or Twitter feed or something. And I signed the petition for obvious reasons. And then I sent him a note saying, it'll probably be too late to help me, but I just want you to know there's at least one person who really appreciates what you're doing. And we've been ignored for so long. It's so refreshing to see there's at least one person saying, hey, disabled people are human beings too, and let's pay some attention to that. Sent off that note and expected that to be the end of it. Got an email back the next day from his administrative person. I guess she was the one who was actually managing sort of the day-to-day petition, saying, your story really touched me. I'm going to forward it to Chris if it's okay with you. And I'm like, okay, sure. I wrote him the message, so by all means. Again, not expecting anything other than that. And boy, was I wrong. So he's the guy who forwarded my story to Cynthia Mulligan.
Did he do that with your permission, or?
Yes.
Okay.
He called me. Well, in a roundabout way. He called me, and we had a couple of conversations on the phone. And he said, I think this is an important issue, and people need to see, how it's affecting people. And I have a friend in the media who is interested in the subject matter. And would you mind if I ran it by this person? And if she wants to talk to you, would you mind talking to them? And knee jerk, I just said sure, because I agreed with the fact that people needed to be aware of just how poorly the society treats its disabled. So I said, yeah, sure. And then I got a call a couple of days later from Cynthia saying, you know, I'd like to come up and do this interview. Would that be okay with you? And I said, sure. And so then she did, and she did that interview, which lots of people have seen by now. And one of the people who saw that interview is a woman well, I've never actually met her in person, but she calls herself FEC on her online handle is that. And she set up this Gofundme page for me, and the thing went nuts.
Yeah.
And in like 5 days, it raised $60,000, at which point I actually had to shut it off. I asked her to not take donations because I had a bunch of debt that I needed to pay. And then once your debt is paid, in terms of ODSP, this is considered a gift, not income.
Okay. Yeah, because I was wondering about that as well. Cause
it's not something that I solicited, and it's not something that's repeatable. So it's not an income. It's just it's like winning the lottery, basically. And if your assets after debts have been paid are below a certain number, which is $40,000, then you at most end up losing a month's worth of benefits, but you don't get kicked off and you don't lose your place for affordable housing or any of this. So I basically needed to make sure that I didn't get too much money. Because, I mean, the money would be nice in the short term, but long term it would end up costing a lot.
Yeah, because that's...
And also, even if it wasn't for that, you know, I never wanted... First of all, I never expected it to do that well, but even when it started doing that well, I never intended to be this, like, you know, open-ended, let's fund Amir's life for life kind of thing. It was just great. This woman did something incredibly compassionate for me. And so many people were affected or touched by my story enough to offer their help, which is something that I still pinch myself, like, wondering if this is real kind of thing. But obviously it is, and so now I am debt-free, or in the process of. There's one guy that I'm still trying to track down to pay him what I owe him. And after that, I'll have enough left to supplement my income until I get into some sort of affordable housing. And yeah, these people saved my life. And it's a debt I'll never be able to really repay, but anything I can ever do to help them, I would.
Well, that actually leads into a couple of tweets that I saw online that you replied to. And I just wanted to expand on those a little bit.
Okay.
So the first one is, I'm guessing most people have seen by now the video of the Canadian man who is so scared of being forced into homelessness that he's choosing death instead. I can't get over how plainly he says, I don't want to die, but the doctor signed his death slip anyway. And you replied, it's not a death slip, but a voluntary application for MAiD that I made of my own free will. But I really want to impress on people, this was your choice.
This was 100% my choice.
And you you didn't feel coerced into doing it.
No. If anything, as I said, people tried to talk me out of doing it.
Okay, another tweet that I came across that made me see just red, because I've been through this sort of accusation before, was somebody who tweeted, his give money or I'll kill myself gambit worked.
Right. As I said, I hadn't told anybody about this. So if this was a kill, you know, give me money or I'm going to kill myself ploy, I certainly had gone about it the wrong way by keeping it a complete secret from everybody and everything for months.
Yeah.
When I first talked to Cynthia, I spent a lot of time in Toronto. So I had this image of this is going to be some human interest thing late at night on City TV and 8 people are going to see it. That's going to be the end of it. When it became very apparent very quickly that a lot more people than that had seen it, the first thought that actually went through my mind was, oh crap, I have just messed up my shot at getting the second sign-off. So far from saying, give me money or I'll kill myself, my first reaction was, damn, I'm not going to be able to get this done now.
Yeah.
So people say things like that. I mean, they say it because for some reason empathy has gone down a lot in today's society, I guess. And a lot of people seem to think that life is a zero-sum game, and in order to make themselves feel better, they need to make somebody else sound worse or feel worse.
Yeah.
And I've learned, especially over this last, month and a half or so, where my story has gained all this traction, to tune it out. There's bozos like that. There's always going to be bozos like that. There's more of them now than there used to be.
Yeah, I've had firsthand experience of people accusing me of faking a disability or using it to my advantage.
None of these people have ever gone the process of qualifying for ODSP, I'll bet. Because for those of you who don't know this, it's basically like applying to get a payment from an insurance company. You apply, they say no. It doesn't even matter how good or bad your case is on its merits. You apply, they say no to like 90% of the people. And thankfully, I was prepared for this by this advocate who helped me originally apply for it. She said, you're going to apply, they're going to say no, don't give up. But basically they say no because by saying no the first time, a percentage of people will give up and a percentage of people will die if their disability was part of some terminal illness. But you are given a chance to appeal the no. So you appeal that, and again, the majority of people are told no, regardless of the merits of your appeal. Again, some will give up, some will die. But you can still appeal that and then go talk to a tribunal, to an actual live person, and you have your advocate with you if you wish. And you make your case and you present all the documents that should have already been read 3 times, but apparently weren't. And then if you are actually disabled, hooray for you, you have won the ultimate prize. You get to live well below the poverty level for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I feel a lot of people aren't aware of just how poorly people are supported when they live with a disability. That it is so far below the poverty line, because they're also saying it's below the poverty line, the line that the government came up with.
Yes.
And that line
is well above what we get.
It's not accurate.
I know, but it's still well above what we get.
Yeah, and it's well above what we get, and the poverty line is way lower than it should be. Because I think right now they're saying it's about $19,000 a year, which
is definitely not high enough, but it's still, a good $5,000 above what disabled people get paid. And the thing that completely threw me is, when the epidemic happened or the pandemic happened and they rolled out the CERB thing, the federal government said, okay, so the average able-bodied Canadian who is no longer able to work because of the pandemic requires a minimum of $2,000 a month to make ends meet. This was CERB, right? This was, okay. Yeah. Well, if that's the case, then I would love it if somebody would explain to me how the average disabled Canadian, who has every one of the same needs as that able-bodied person, and arguably some extra ones, but we'll even forget about the extra ones for now. If the average able-bodied Canadian needs $2,000 a month to make ends meet due to the fact that they can no longer work due to circumstances beyond their control, how is it any different for disabled people? Aren't we every bit as human as they are? Don't we have the exact same expenses? So fine, make it at least $2,000 for us. And I'll bet you that a lot of the extraneous noise would go away, because it's certainly not a luxurious lifestyle, but on $2,000 a month, you can actually scrape by. But on $1,169 a month that hadn't gone up a penny in 5 years, I would love to see any of these people who keep going on about how this is a con and how we're getting rich on being on disability. I'd love to see them try to do it for a month, let alone the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Please go to my channel and you can see videos where I have spoken about this, including when some MPPs decided to do the welfare diet for a couple weeks. That bothered me. But also, so many people are just not aware. In this province, across the country, pretty much there's nowhere where our entire support checks can afford a 1-bedroom apartment at market rent.
It's not pretty much nowhere. It's exactly nowhere. At best.
The way that I'm saying is pretty much nowhere, as in your entire check, okay, maybe 90% of that can go to rent, which is not...
No, if you actually want an apartment
Yeah.
Like a place where you don't have shared accommodations. There is literally no place in this country where your entire disability check would even cover rent. There is no such place. This is a mythical place. It does not exist. So if you're on ODSP, you're either grandfathered into an apartment that you're lucky enough that it hasn't gone up, or you've been one of the chosen few that has managed to get into affordable housing that's got years-long wait list, or you're sharing accommodations as I am. You're in a rooming house. But having your own apartment on ODSP, the average apartment in Ontario is something over, one-bedroom apartment. Anywhere in Ontario is well over $1,500. Yeah. And ODSP, with the historic raise that Fort Nation gave us so 5%. Generously, after 5 years and nothing, we get $1,220-something a month. So if we gave all of it to rent, it wouldn't be enough for a one-bedroom apartment.
Yeah. This is why in my video about MAiD that I made earlier, I also said it's like, okay, so the federal government is pushing through the Disability Benefit Act. And again, I'm a
little more hopeful on that than you are. Numbers haven't been given out, but I actually am hoping that there is enough of a conversation now around the topic, one, and two, the feds need to keep the NDP happy or the government will fall. And so it's in their own interest to push some of the more progressive items. So I'm hopeful that C-22 will help. Besides which, it could hardly hurt. I mean, you can't go farther below where we're already at. We're further along toward the possibility of there being some federal relief than we've ever been. So that in itself can't be a bad thing.
And I don't think people quite understand how important this is for people who live with disabilities, how many lives this will actually save.
The vast majority of the disabled community, we're not asking for anything other than to be treated the same as everyone else and have a life that's actually worth living. And if those supports are in place, both financial and healthcare and mental health wise, then there'd be no reason to even consider MAiD. That those underlying problems need to be addressed. The fact that people in Canada in 2022 need to beg for food on Twitter is insane.
Yeah, because I'm on disability Twitter and I see it all the time. Yeah. People who
people are being evicted. They can't afford their meds because more and more Ford's cut meds that have been covered before. Services like physio for chronic conditions is no longer cut. Yeah. How do you cut physio for chronic conditions from the group of people that needs it the most, that it can help the most, and who can't afford it otherwise?
Yeah. And the fact that we are in a country that is as wealthy as Canada, and we now have people who need GoFundMes or need to beg.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of Canadians like to sit up here and be like, haha, look at those Americans. We're much better than them because they have to have GoFundMes to cover their medical needs.
Well, we are much better than them, but we're not good enough.
Yeah, that's the thing. We can't hold them as the example to be above.
That's a pretty low bar. But if you compared us to anywhere in Western Europe, we wouldn't even be close.
Yeah, we shouldn't have to rely on it because, like you said, it was like winning the lottery.
Exactly. And that can't be people's go-to.
There's so many people who already have gone through with MAiD, where all they needed was a proper place to live or the supports to live on their own. That's already happened.
And more is going to happen. But that's not the fault of MAiD. It's if the woman who had to use MAiD because she couldn't find a place where she could actually breathe, MAiD wasn't the issue. The fact that she couldn't breathe in any place that she could afford, that was the issue. Deal with that. Fix that. Fix the underlying problem. Stop making the disabled people be villains or con artists. Stop criminalizing not being able to work. It's not criminal. None of us ask for the pain, be it psychological or physical. Anybody I know that's disabled would, in a heartbeat, trade it in for the ability to work and a job, and not the pain and not the disability. But for reasons beyond our control, for the most part, we are disabled. We are not able to work. And a human being's worth shouldn't just be, are they able to work or not? I mean, that's sort of the way
that's capitalism.
Ford and the right wing look at it. But we're people, and all we're asking for is that you treat us as human beings. And if the federal government says you need at least $2,000 for the average Canadian, treat us like the average Canadian. Entitle us to that same $2,000.
Okay, so where do you go from now? Where do you go from here?
Upstairs is the short answer.
Where do you go from here? Are you okay now?
I am. And I never thought I'd say that. Heck, I thought that by today I'd be at least a week dead. So I'm a heck of a lot better than I thought I'd be.
I was never intending to be this age, so I understand that.
So I am going to be moving upstairs. The house didn't sell because the market's the market. Yeah. But the landlord is moving down here with his family, so he's turning the upstairs into a rooming house. And he was kind enough to give me first dibs and a good price and the best room up there. So I'm going to move upstairs. I've also applied through Niagara Housing for rent geared to income. Excuse me. Housing. Oddly enough, the fact that I have to go up all these stairs may actually help push me up the list for urgent need, because the stairs are... I'd be lucky if I could make those stairs 1 out of every 2 days. Like, there's going to be about half the days where I'd basically be postage up there and not able to do anything. So, and if that happens, and until that happens, because of the GoFundMe, I've paid off my debts, so I no longer have this giant credit card debt that I have to spend several $100s a month just to pay the interest on, which certainly didn't help, so that's gone, and I've got enough left that I can supplement my ODSP income, a little bit every month, a few $100s, to just sort of, make it to that $2,000 level and actually be able to live. I've spoken to my caseworkers, so I know that with the numbers, my numbers being what they are, I'm not in danger of losing ODSP or anything. So yeah, I am okay. I am more okay than I have been in longer than I can remember. And I am incredibly thankful to the people who made that happen.
That is wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that, because all too often we don't have the good stories.
Right.
And it's nice to be able to have one of those good stories.
Yes. Though as happy as I am that I'm the good story, again, I won the lottery. There's 1 million+ people in this country who aren't. And we need to make sure that there's enough change in the system that they can live. They can live a life worth living. They can have a little bit of dignity. They can have a roof over their head and food to eat. And that's all they're, roof over the head, food to eat, the medication they need. Nobody's asking for more than this. We're not asking for Ferraris and private jets and all of that. Just, not a rat-infested hellhole. Yeah, the basic minimums. And for a country that prides itself on being nice and having a social safety net and all that, why don't we actually deliver on that? Yeah. Now, I think part of that is maybe people just don't realize how badly ignored and treated we are, and hopefully this will help educate people.
So to finish off our conversation, is there one last thing that you want people to know, or any way that you can suggest that they get involved to help the situation of folks with disabilities?
Don't let the conversation stop until something has happened. Thankfully, we do, as much as we grumble about it and hate it, and there are problems with it, we still do live in a democracy. Next time there's an election in this province, make sure Mr. Fort doesn't get elected. That's the easy answer. You know, a vast number of Ontarians didn't vote, and with barely 40% of the vote, this character has, you know, nearly 3/4 of the power, and he doesn't give a damn about us.
Reminder to Ontarians, with only 40% of the populace voting and what actually ended up voting Conservative, he won full power with 18% of possible votes.
So all those people that stayed at home and didn't vote, you in effect voted for people dying of hunger in your province. So maybe the next time there's an election, don't do that.
Mm-hmm. So, as I like to tell people...
Keep hammering at them. You know, write your MP, write your MPP, write your city councillor, make their lives miserable. Call them, call their office, go protest, do whatever it is you need to do to keep this conversation going. And eventually, hopefully, there will be change.
Yeah. What I like to say to people is get informed, get involved.
Yeah.
Just learn about what's happening in the community and learn how you can help.
And the first one is equally important. If people don't know what the problem is, then they can't reasonably be expected to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I keep saying disabled people are never really meant, or at least up until now, have never made the news. We've never been mentioned. We've never, you know, it's just, yeah, there are these people and there's a social safety net and everybody assumes it's sufficient. Maybe now they'll find out just how insufficient it is, and maybe that'll be enough.
Okay.
One can hope.
Well, hope is a powerful.
Yes.
Powerful.
It is.
Tool for change.
It also makes getting up worthwhile.
Okay. Thank you so much for this conversation.
My pleasure.
It's been wonderful talking to you, and hopefully,
fingers crossed.
The message will get out there and enough people will get engaged and we can change the lives of literally millions of people in this country.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you.
Okay.
Where are the GoFundMes for the other people in my video? People who are facing the same choice as Amir. Where was the help for people who have already used MAiD? People who wanted to live but weren't provided the supports they needed? What about the hundreds of thousands of people in this country with disabilities who are suffering in dire poverty? We all have stories. Having your story go viral, winning the lottery, those aren't solutions to the failures of our government. I'm glad Amir's story has a good ending, but I'm tired that all of the feel-good stories we get are a result of a wrong being corrected by chance. MAiD should never be offered in place of social services our government can provide, but chooses not to. I have far more to say about this and will in my next video on this subject. If during that chat you were thinking to yourself, this would have looked a lot better had she used 2 cameras to record, I'd like to direct you to my wish list, linked in the description box below. I live with poverty, and I'm making the best videos I can with the equipment I have. It's difficult for people living with poverty to succeed in careers that require startup expenses. I know I'm asking for a lot on my wish list, but with those items, I'll be able to make better videos and live stream. With that, I hope my channel will grow enough so I can scrape by. Don't forget to hit buttons and leave comments. If you can, please support my content by becoming a patron. A special thanks to those of you who already have. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today. Okay.
Cut.
And this is where I hold my breath.
And hope that we don't have to do this all over again?
Pretty much.